Welcome to ILTV's Israel Daily. I'm Amit Harari, coming up in today's newscast. The parents of Elan Ganeles, who was killed in a terrorist attack near the Dead Sea, laying their son to rest in Israel, a country he loved so dearly. Meantime, thousands launching nationwide day of disruption protesting against the judicial overhaul. And new video game having as goal educating the young generation while keeping the Holocaust memory alive. Terror victim Elan Ganeles was today laid to rest in Israel. The dual U.S.-Israeli citizen was murdered by a Palestinian terrorist on Monday when he was shot and killed in the Jordan Valley. 27-year-old Elan Ganeles was visiting Israel to attend a wedding of friends in Jerusalem. He was gunned down in cold blood while standing alongside his car in the Jordan Valley. Ganeles' family decided that the funeral would be held in Ra'anana, where Ilan spent a great deal of time. His parents arrived at the funeral from the family home in West Hartford, Connecticut. Several years ago, he came to Israel to serve as a lone soldier in the army and later returned to the U.S. to continue his studies. Friends said that Ilan felt very much at home in Israel, and his army service and continuing Torah study were central parts of his life. As a teen, Ilan was well known as a Torah reader in the synagogue. A close friend said that Ilan was always calm. He would like to say, "Everything will be fine. We will fix everything," added. He just wanted to go do good in the world. Elan Ganeles, of blessed memory. 6 alleged Jewish vigilantes suspected of involvement in the Huwara riots were arrested in Judea and Samaria overnight. The police said that 4 adults and 2 minors are being held on suspicion of involvement in arson, assault, public disturbances, and damaging property in the Arab town. Meanwhile, the army is continuing the manhunt for the terrorists who carried out the twin murder of the Yaniv brothers in Huwara. And this afternoon, the police announced they captured the killers of Elan Ganeles in the Jordan Valley. And joining us now is former National Security Advisor, retired General Yaakov Amidror. Yaakov, so security forces are continuing the manhunt for the gunmen of the Yaniv brothers and captured the 2 killing Elan Ganeles. What do we know about the boats still going on manhunt and about the captured ones already?
What we know is the IDF is determined to arrest, and if will be needed, to kill all these terrorists. And the operation is continuing based on intelligence. We don't go about every citizen in the West Bank. We are focusing based on the intelligence that we are gathering. And at the end of the day, the aim is very clear: to arrest those who conducted the terrorist attacks. Do
we know anything about the one that was already captured?
He was interrogated by the Shabak, and we will know after a few days what they found in their interrogation.
Yes, now 4 additional battalions have been added in Judea and Samaria. The tensions are very high ahead of Ramadan. What are you expecting?
I expect that the pressure of the IDF will help to minimize the number of terrorists, but cannot stop it. These terrorists will come one way or another. If you get in the morning and you decide that you are taking your car for killing Jews in a bus station, something that no one can stop. And we will see more attacks against the Israeli citizens. And I hope that the army will be ready and sophisticated enough to stop that whenever it's possible.
Now, 6 Jewish vigilantes were arrested on suspicion of involvement with the destruction of Arab property that took place in Huwara the other day. The head of the Army Central Command called it a pogrom. How would you describe what took place right there?
I think that it can be done to arrest Israelis who behave in a way which does not fit to our values, do not have any benefit for the settlement or for Israel. It's just something that should be stopped one way or another, and everything that can be done should be done.
What is the punishment giving there?
It's the end. It's going to a court, and in the trial, I believe that they will be sent to prison for years. I hope that what will happen, because it should be a very clear signal to the settlers and everyone in those areas. It's a sovereign state. The IDF and the police should act if will be needed. It's not in their hand. They cannot make pogroms on Arabs just because they are Arabs.
Well, the army says that it miscalculated the numbers and intent of the Jewish vigilantes that arrived in Hawara. How much of a problem are those people for the army?
It's a problem, depends on the intelligence that the army has about how many of them are going to come, and the army immediately should bring to this area more and more forces to stop them, to contain them, and not to let these vigilants to do what we can see here. It's against the moral values of the Jewish people. It's against the interest of the state of Israel, and it doesn't benefit anyone but the satisfaction of those people, which probably are very sad about the killing of the two Jews earlier, but it's not a reason to do what was done here. It should be stopped immediately.
Yaakov Amidrol, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Not much yet being released about this concerning investigation, but what we do know now is that the Israeli police arrested a man planning to hurt one of Israel's most high-profile ministers. ILTV's William Sharon has the story.
Channel 13 reporting a resident of East Jerusalem planning to assassinate the Minister of National Security, Itamar Ben-Gvir, was arrested a few weeks ago by the police and with close cooperation with the Shin Bet. The police investigation revealing that the suspect allegedly planned to steal police license plates to get close to Ben-Gvir, while meeting with people from terrorist organizations giving him money to help him carry out his plan. The plan was intended to be carried out during Ramadan, when Ben-Gvir intended on visiting Temple Mount, and also appearing from the suspect's interrogation that the same potential terrorist intended to carry out an additional terror attack while intending to kidnap a body to negotiate for bargaining purpose with the Israeli government. Meanwhile, no further details were released regarding the planned assassination, but Itamar Ben-Gvir is commenting on it and saying, "I am thankful for the security force and the police officers that protect me and my life," said Ben-Gvir. "I will not be scared off by attempts to harm me, and I will continue to work toward a strong right-wing security policy, defeat terrorism, and return security and governance to the streets."
Nationwide protests are taking place all over Israel today against the government's planned judicial overhaul. This as the coalition today advances another major portion of its controversial program toward a Knesset vote. ILTV's Steve Leibovitz reports.
Midday, the peaceful protests at the Kaplan intersection in Tel Aviv evolved into chaos, with police clashing with demonstrators who were determined to block the Ayalon highway. Police fired dozens of stun grenades at the protesters. A police spokesman said the step became necessary after protesters threw stones at police and broke through barriers. The so-called National Day of Disruption comes as the Law Committee presses forward today with its expected approval of the override clause that allows the government to cancel high court rulings with a simple Knesset majority of 61. The protests took place even as members of the coalition are hinting for the first time that they may be willing to pause the moves for judicial overhaul to allow for discussions with the opposition. The offer would reportedly include a temporary halt of 1 week in all Knesset committee work on the issue. During the course of the day, there were reports of scuffles between police and protesters. Arrests were reported. Train and bus service was disrupted. Parent and student groups gathered outside schools and universities to protest around the country. Protest marches were held in Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and other cities. Health officials have walked out of hospitals. Many businesses are closed to allow workers to attend protests.
To demonstrate, to preserve and protect the vision of my grandfathers who came to the state of Israel to establish a state that is built on freedom, equality, and justice.
Ahead of the protest, former Attorney General Mendelblit caused a stir when he described the government's judicial overhaul plan as a regime coup. He called for the High Court to strike down bills if they are passed into law. If heeded by the High Court, this could lead to a full-blown constitutional crisis between the government and the judiciary. The National Day of Disruption is ending this evening with a mass rally in front of the Jerusalem home of Prime Minister Netanyahu.